Hello and welcome back. In the previous video, we have seen what is the minimum and maximum spanning tree problems are, and we ended the video with a question whether the brute force method will solve these problems in polynomial time. More specifically, we asked if we take a graph with a complete graph with n nodes, how many spanning trees will it have? In this video, we are going to say that study what is known as the Callis theorem, which states that the number of spanning trees in a complete graph with n nodes is n to the power n minus 2. So the brute force method will take exponential time. So in this video we will see this proof of this theorem. We may not formally look at the formal proof of this theorem, but we will try to attempt what is this theorem, and so what is the ideas behind the correctness of these ideas, and get some ideas why this theorem is true. Okay, so let's start with the Callis theorem. So in this video we're going to see the Callis theorem. The Callis theorem states that the number of distinct spanning trees in a complete graph with n nodes is n to the power n minus 2. So before we come to the proof of Callis theorem, we will look at another theorem which is required in the proof of Callis theorem. So this theorem is on trees. If you give me a tree with n nodes, n is at least 1, at least 2. This tree should have at least 2 nodes with the degree 1. So if you just look at these trees as a tree, then the degree 1 nodes are basically the leaf nodes. So what this theorem is saying is that if you give me any tree with at least 2 nodes, then the tree should have at least 2 leaf nodes. Right? So leaf nodes are basically in this context is defined as degree 1 nodes. So why should a tree should have at least 2 nodes with degree 1? Let's first prove that. First let's prove a simpler theorem. Here instead of 2, let's make that there should be at least 1 node with degree 1. So right, what is the theorem now? A tree with n nodes will have at least 1 node with degree 1. How do you prove this? Let's assume that this theorem is not true. So the every node in the tree should have a degree strictly greater than 1. So strictly greater than 1 is greater than or equal to 2. Right, so let's just sum up the degree of every node in the graph. The graph has n vertices, and the degree of each vertex is 2. So the sum of the degree of all the vertices should be at least greater than or equal to 2n. But we have seen that sum of the degree of each vertex in the graph is twice into the number of edges in the graph. But we also know that the number of edges in the graph is 2n. So what we should have is the sum of the degrees it should be greater than or equal to 2n. That's what we have on one side. But on the other side, this sum should be exactly 2 into the number of edges in the graph, which is 2 into n minus 1. So if we cancel 2 and 2n on both sides, what you get is minus 2 is greater than 0, which is a contradiction. So we arrived at this contradiction because we assume that every node in the tree has a degree strictly greater than 1. So that theorem is not true. So that means that if every node doesn't have degree strictly greater than 1, then there should be at least 1 node with degree 1. Let's come back to our original theorem. So this theorem is that there should be at least 2 nodes with degree 1. So what we have already shown is that there is a 1 node with degree 1. Let's say that j be the node with degree 1 and all the other nodes have degree greater than 1. Now if you sum up the degrees of all the vertices, again on the left hand side what I have is this should be twice into the number of edges in the graph, which is 2 into n minus 1. So on the right hand side, one node has degree 1. After that there are n minus 1 nodes. All of them have degree at least greater than or equal to 2. So the sum of the degrees should be greater than or equal to 1 plus 2 into n minus 1, because one node here has degree 1 and the remaining n minus 1 nodes has degree at least 2. So the sum of the degree should be greater than or equal to 1 plus 2 into n minus 1. Again we can cancel 2 into n minus 1 on both sides. You get that 0 is greater than 1, which is a contradiction. This is a contradiction because we assume that except for this one node, we assume that every other node has degree strictly greater than 1. So that statement is not true. So that means that there will be at least 2 nodes with degree 1. Just out of curiosity, I was just thinking whether this theorem can be extended to 3. So if you start rewriting these theorems, let's just see what do you get. So I and j be the only nodes with degree 1, then all the other nodes will have degree greater than 1. So there are 2 nodes with degree 1 and the remaining n minus 2 nodes will have degree 2. The sum of the degrees should be greater than or equal to 2 plus 2 into n minus 2. On the left hand side, what you have is this is exactly equal to twice into the number of edges in the graph, which is 2 into n minus 1. So what you get on the right hand side is 2 into n minus 1. So what I have on the left hand side is 2 into n minus 1. So there is no contradiction. So at least we can't extend this proof for 3 nodes. In fact, if you look at the degenerate tree has only 2 nodes with degree 1, right? So this theorem is true only for 2 nodes. It's not true for 3 nodes, right? Quick example is you take a degenerate tree, only the first node and the last node are degree 1 nodes. Every other node in the degenerate tree has degree 2. So this is not extendable to 3. So this theorem is only true for 2 nodes. The theorem that we just proved is that a tree with n nodes will have at least 2 nodes with leaf nodes. Let's come back to the Callis theorem. In Callis theorem, what we want to show is that the number of distinct spanning trees in a complete graph with n nodes is n to the power n minus 2. So what we are going to assume is that we are given a complete graph. This is an undirect graph. There are n vertices in it. We will label these n vertices starting with 0 to n minus 1, right? So you can label them in any order. It doesn't matter because it's a complete graph. Everything is connected to anything else. But before you start the proof, you will assume that there is a labeling on the nodes of the graph. So we want to show that the number of spanning trees that are possible is n to the power n minus 2. What we will show is that there is a bijection between the set of spanning trees of the graph that is given to us and the set v to the power n minus 2. How is v to the power n minus 2 is defined? You know v square is that is v cross v, which will contain all the order pairs of the type a comma b, where a and b both are in V. Similarly, v of n minus 2 is inductively defined as v of n minus 1, n minus 3 into v. So this is basically look like a vector of length n minus 2, where each component is a element from v. So it will look like v1, v2, v of n minus 1, where each of these v of i's will be from the v. So we know that v square has n square number of elements. So v to the power n minus 2 will have n to the power n minus 2 elements. So this we have 2 sets. One is the set of spanning trees on one side, and the other side is a vector of length n minus 2, which is where each component can come from can take n different values. We know that the cardinality of the set on the right hand side is exactly equal to n to the power n minus 2. If you can define a bijection, so what's a bijection? This is a 1-1 onto mapping. So in other words, if I give me any spanning tree, I should be able to produce a vector on the right hand side, and if you give me any vector on the right hand side, I should be able to produce a unique spanning tree on the left hand side. The function which is given there should be a function which takes a spanning tree and gives me a vector of length n by 2, and there should be another function g which takes a vector of length n minus 2 and produces a spanning tree. And these two functions should be inverse of each other. If that happens, then we know that there is a 1-1 onto correspondence. We can map a spanning tree uniquely to a vector of length n minus 2 and vice versa. If that happens, if there are 2 finite sets and there is a 1-1 onto mapping, that's a bijection between these 2 sets, we know that the cardinality of the 2 sets should be same. So so we want to compute the number of spanning trees of a complete graph. We don't know how to compute the number of spanning trees. That's why we are taking v to the power n minus 2. What's good about v to the power n minus 2? We know how many exact elements are exactly there in the set. So now if you define a bijection between these 2 sets, then the cardinality of these 2 sets has to be same. So that implies the Callis theorem, right? So that means that the number of spanning trees in the complete graph should be exactly equal to cardinality of v to the power n minus 2, which is n to the power n minus 2. So what it remains is that so we need to, given a spanning tree, I should be able to give you a vector of n minus 2, and so I should also have a reverse function for it. In other words, if I give a vector of length n minus 2, I should be able to get back my spanning tree. So we will give an algorithm to compute so these mappings and the inverse of these mappings, but we will not probably formally prove that so one is inverse of the other. We will give you the mapping, but we may skip the proof that this is in fact a bijection. So let's start with a spanning tree. So we are given a spanning tree. So I want you to tell how to construct a vector of length, how to map it to a vector of length n minus 2. So what we do is that we pick a degree 1 node with least label. So every vertex is labeled from 0 to n minus 1, and we know that any tree will have at least 2 nodes with degree 1. So you consider all the degree 1 nodes, essentially the leaf nodes, and pick the one which has the least label. Delete that node and the edge incident on it from the spanning tree, and note down the end point of the edge that you just deleted. Okay, so let me repeat, you pick an edge, pick a vertex node which is a minimum label among all the degree 1 nodes. Delete that node, and since this has only degree 1, there will be only one edge which is incident on it. Delete this node and delete also the adjacent edge. When you delete this edge, just note down the end point of the edge that you are deleting. Okay, other endpoint of the edge that you are deleting. So that becomes the first component of the n minus 1 n minus 2 vector that you are trying to create. So now after a deleted one node, exactly one vertex has gone from the spanning tree and one edge has gone from the spanning tree. So what remains is a spanning tree with n nodes. Okay. So now you have taken, you have written down one component of a vector of length n minus 2, then recursively work with the other spanning tree and build the n minus 2, n minus 3 number of vectors that you have, number of components that you are supposed to write in a vector of length n minus 2. Your recursion stops when there is only one edge. When so only one edge is there, your recursion stops. As long as the number of vertices is greater than 2, you continue this process. Let's quickly look at this example. So let's say that this is the spanning tree that I had. So what it says is that you just look at all the leaf nodes. The leaf nodes are 0, 3, 4 and 5 and 6. Pick the one which has the minimum label. The minimum label that I have is 0, and I'm going to delete this node from the graph, and I also going to delete this edge from the graph. When I delete this, I note down the adjacent vertex of the edge that I'm going to delete, which is 1. So now the node 0 is gone, the edge that is incident on 0 is also gone. I apply the same algorithm on the rest of the graph. After 0 is gone, the nodes which have degree 1 is 1, 3, 4 and 5. So among this I pick the one which has the minimum label. So this is where the theorem is coming into picture. There will be always 2 nodes, at least 2 nodes with the same degree, degree 1. So asking you to pick, when I ask you to pick the node with the minimum label, there will be at least 2 options at any point of time. So here there are 4 options now. So what I do is that I delete 1 and I also delete the edge which is incident on it. I note down the node which is 2, which is the other endpoint of the edge that I just deleted, right? Repeat this process. Next you will end up deleting 3, then you will note down the next 2. Next you are going to delete 4. Once you delete 4 again, you will note down 2. Next you are going to delete 5. So once you delete 5, you are going to note down 2. So now the leaf nodes, after deleting all these 0, 1, 3, 4, 5, the tree will just have 2, 7 and 6, and there are exactly 2 nodes with degree 1, that is 2 and 6. So what you do is that you pick the node with the minimum label among the leaf nodes, you end up picking 2. So when you end up picking 2, you delete this node and note down 7, because 7 is the adjacent node of the adjacent vertex of the node that you just deleted. So when there is 2 vertices that are left, your algorithm stops. Okay, so you started with a spanning tree with n vertices, and you started deleting one leaf node at a time. You always pick a leaf node or the degree 1 node with the minimum label. When you deleted a node, you made an entry in the array, right? So your algorithm stopped when there are exactly 2 nodes that are left. Okay, so you started with a spanning tree with n nodes. Every time when you deleted, you made an entry in the vector array, and your algorithm stops exactly when there are 2 nodes which are left, which means that you have noted down exactly n minus 2 labels of the nodes, because you have exactly deleted n minus 2 number of nodes from the gap. So now if you continue this process, when there is only one edge that is left, so this is an edge, so the maximum labeled node will never be deleted during this process. Okay, so if there is only one edge, both of them have degree 1, so you will pick the, if you have to pick the node with the minimum label, you will pick the other one. So if you have to write down, continue this process, you will end up writing n minus 1 as the next node. For any tree, given any tree, n minus 1 will be the next entry that you have to make. So this has nothing to do with the tree that is given, so there is no point writing it up, right? So this is because so the maximum n minus 1 will never be picked for deletion during the execution of the algorithm, because of the theorem that we proved. For any tree with at least 2 nodes, there will be at least 2 nodes with degree 1, right? Since there is always another node other than, even if the n minus 1 node is of degree 1, there will be one more node, at least one more node with degree 1. So when you pick the minimum labeled degree 1 node, you will never pick the maximum labeled node. So the maximum labeled node is the one which is remaining at the end, so there is no point noting it down, it will be same for all of them, so we stop. So what's the algorithm to convert a spanning tree into the vector of length n minus 2? I'll repeat the algorithm. Pick among all the nodes with degree 1, pick the one which has the minimum label. Delete that from the graph. When you delete the node from the graph, you also delete the edge which is incident on it. So when you do that, you just note down the other endpoint of the edge that you are deleting, right? So one edge is gone, one vertex is also gone, and you have made one entry into the vector. So repeat this process n minus 3 number of times, n minus 2 number of times. So what you get is a vector of length n minus 2, and the graph that is left will have exactly 2 nodes. Don't do anything to it. So this will give you a mapping from spanning tree to a vector of length n minus 2. Now we have to think how to construct, given a vector of length n minus 2, how do you construct a spanning tree which will map back to the same vector? So the algorithm goes like this. Given a vector of length n by 2, so you are going to pick a node with the least label that has not been picked so far, but it's also not part of the vector. So at any point of time, so you are supposed to pick a node which you are not picked, and so the node that you pick should not be part of the vector that is already there. So among all such nodes, you pick the one which is the minimum label, right? And connect it to delete it from the vector, and then connect the pick node to the deleted node. So you're going to pick a node, there is a first vector in the first node in the vector. You're going to connect this to the first vector in the node, and you're going to delete that node from the vector, right? So that is the list. Since you're going to pick one node which is not being picked, you're going to not repeatedly pick a same node, you're going to pick only one node. and so this is going to be connected to the node that you're going to delete, right? So in each iteration you're going to pick one node from the graph, and every node will be picked at most once, and you're going to add an edge into the graph. So once, so if you repeat this n minus 2 times, then what you get is you will be ending up with a empty vector which has nothing in it, but you would have added n minus 2 edges in the graph. And what you do is that you take the highest label vertex and connect it to the last vector that you had in the vector, right? So you're going to add n minus 2 1 edges, and since you're picking a vertex only once, so this will never create a cycle. So this will never create a cycle, and you're going to pick every vertex exactly once, and you're going to add n minus 1 edges. This means that you'll end up getting a spanning tree. Let's quickly look at the example for it. If I'm given 0, 2, 2, 2, 7, so I want to pick a label vertex, nothing has been picked. I had to so all the vertices, none of these vertices have been picked. So I had to pick a minimum label which is not been picked, but it's not in the vector. So the numbers that are written in the vector 1, 2 and 7, I cannot pick this. Among all the numbers which are not here, I want to pick the one which is minimum label. So I pick 0. I pick 0 and connect it to 1, right? So once I connect it to 1, so this edge comes into picture there. Now 1 goes up from this vector. So what I will be left with 2, 2, 2, 2, 7. So I cannot pick 0 again, and I cannot pick 2 and 7. So the minimum labeled vertex that's a candidate is 1. So what I do is that I pick 1 and connect it to 2. So now 1, 2 goes off, and I have picked 0 and 1. I cannot pick 2 and 7, but I can pick anything from other than these numbers. I pick the one which has the minimum label. So what I will do, end up picking is, I will end up picking 3 and connect it to 2 and delete 1, 2. So this 2 is gone because of 1, this 2 will be gone because of 3, and then I pick 4 and connect it to 2 and delete this. Then I pick 5 and connect it to 2 and then delete this. Now right now what I have is only 7. So now what I do is that 2 is the one which has not been picked, which is not in the collection. So I pick 2 and connect it to 7. This is what I get, right? So now the only vertex that I had not picked so far is 6. So what we said is that 6 is the node that should be connected to the maximum weighted, maximum labeled node, which is 7. So the last edge that I am going to add is to the 7. So I repeat the algorithm. So you have this list, which is the set of numbers which are there in this. You can think of this as a list, right? The vectors that are given to you is n minus 2 elements are there in this list, and there is a list of vectors to be picked. So initially that will have everything, right? So all the numbers from 0 to n minus 1. So what I am going to pick is I want to pick a node which is there in the not selected list, and that node should not be there in the this list, right? So this array list that I have, which is 1, 2, 7. So I want to look for a number which has not been picked but is not in this collection. So among all the candidates, you pick the one which is the minimum label. Once you pick that the minimum label, you delete the first node from this list, and whatever node that you picked, connect it to the node that you're going to delete. So the impact of this is that you have picked one node, you have deleted one node from this list, and you have added one edge. Repeat this process n minus 2 number of times. You would have picked n minus 2 number of vertices during the process. All of them have to be distinct. You can't pick repeat a vertex. Okay. So now, so you are left with an empty list. Yeah, it's because you have deleted n minus 2 from the vector of length n minus 2. Now, other than the maximum element and one more element, you have picked n minus 2 elements. This maximum element may not have been picked, right? So what you do is that other than the maximum element, there are two elements which are not picked because you have added exactly n minus 2 edges into the graph, and you have picked n minus 2 edges. So you pick the one edge, one vertex which is not the maximum vertex, and then connected to the maximum labeled vertex. So you have picked, you have essentially picked all the n vertices now and connected through n minus 1 edges. So that makes it as a spanning tree. The last edge that you're going to add is you pick a one edge which is not being picked and connected to the maximum labeled edge, right? That's what we're going to do. So we will end up getting a spanning tree. Just a quiz time. So if you understood the proof, the second part, you might want to think of what is the spanning tree which maps to the vector 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 100. And I can also give you another vector which looks like several ones. So what is the spanning tree which maps to this? Okay. So as I said earlier, so we have defined a Bijective 1-1 onto mapping between the set of spanning trees of a complete graph and a vector of length n minus 2. Since we have a bijection, it implies that the cardinality of these two sets has to be same, which implies that the number of distinct spanning trees in a complete graph with n nodes is exactly equal to n into n minus 2. As mentioned earlier, we will skip the proof why the mapping that we defined is in fact a bijection, and so we defined f which takes a spanning tree and gives you a vector of length n minus 2. Then we define another mapping which takes a vector and gives you a spanning tree in the complete graph. So proving that one is the inverse of other would imply that this is a bijection, but for in the interest of time, so we will skip the proof for time. So in this video we have seen that the number of spanning trees in a complete graph with n nodes is n to the power n minus 2. It's natural to ask the question, say if I give you a complete graph with n nodes, how many shortest paths, distinct shortest paths, simple paths are there in the graph? Just for completion, we will try to answer this question in the next video.